The CPI came out on 10th of August was a better number than expected. The year-over-year came at 8.5% versus the 8.7% expected. Many people are cheering the rate hikes worked and inflation has peaked. Let's go back to rate cuts now. What? And as a result of the CPI print, stocks and bonds both rallied higher in hope of a Fed pivot coming soon. Let's YOLO all in on stocks now! You know what, guys? Not so fast. In order for the Fed to pivot, we need to either see a sustained period of much lower CPI print towards the 2% target, or secondly, unemployment rate gets considerably worse. But for now, unemployment rate is still at record low of 3.5%. And as a matter of fact, the jobs report came out on 5th of August shows a very strong labor market with 528,000 more jobs created in July alone. This was double than expected, and hourly wage also jumped 0.5% the month and 5.2% from the same year in a year ago. So we have a signs of a wage price spiral, which will fuel inflation even further. And if we look closer at the CPI data, we see that the items that dropped the most are energy related, the oil and the gasoline. While the price has come down for the crude oil, I doubt this will last because the fundamentals haven't improved, meaning the supply shortage has not fixed. And with the winter month ahead, how can we say that energy price has peaked? I made a video deep dive on energy shortage topic. Go watch that, then you will get more context of what I'm saying here. So in high likelihood, the energy price rebounds higher. Then you will see a higher CPI print. Like I said before, we have a sticky inflation situation, and this 1 month drop is not likely to make a sustained downtrend in inflation. We also need to understand that the dual mandate of the Federal Reserve, which is to maximize employment and ensure price stability. In plain English, this means that the Fed will encourage growth so long as inflation remains near the target of 2%. If inflation runs above its target, then the Fed must find the optimal trade-off between employment and inflation, which means slowing or reversing economic growth to tame inflation. And for the past several decades, the Fed has not had to choose. Inflation has remained lower than the 2% target, allowing for incredibly loose monetary policy. But those days are over, at least for now. The situation today is very different from the 2008 financial crisis and the 2020 health crisis. It is actually the opposite of those two. In 2008 and 2020, the unemployment rate reached double digits, and deflation was a real concern. Fast forward to today, we have the strongest labor market and the sustained high inflation. The Fed does not have a choice. It must continue the rate hike and possibly stay at a higher than neutral rate for a longer period until the dynamics reverse. As for the asset prices, the stocks, the bonds, the real estate will likely continue to go down. This is because asset prices are actually a key transmission channel of the Fed's monetary policy. You see, to encourage growth and employment, the Fed seeks to increase assets prices so everyone feels rich and spend more. To tame inflation, the Fed seeks to reduce assets prices. While interest rates have always influenced asset prices, the Fed's ability to influence asset prices was greatly enhanced by the invention of quantitative easing and quantitative tightening, the directly buying and selling treasury bonds and mortgage-backed securities. In plain English, it means to increase or decrease the amount of money in the financial system. And we know when we have more money in the system, all asset prices go up. And where less money in the system, all asset prices go down. For the past decades, the Fed has supported the financial assets at every downturn. From the 2008 global financial crisis to the 2013 taper tantrum to the 2018 pivot to the 2020 COVID bailouts, the Fed always saved the day and asset prices always climbed higher. Any downside was an opportunity. Bad news was the good news. The Fed has been the tide lifts all boats, and people are so used to this playbook. The recent price rally in stocks and bonds is telling you people are still expecting the same playbook. But for the first time in decades, the Fed is more concerned with inflation than growth. The Fed has been clear that now the number one focus is the price stability. Without it, any long-term growth expectations are out of the window. So the Fed actually wants the assets price to go down to create a reverse wealth effect. The real estate market usually lags 6 to 9 months, hasn't really seen a substantial drop yet. How can the Fed pivot here? I don't see the Fed pivoting anytime soon. Ironically, any rally in asset prices will only meet a harder response from the Fed until inflation has been extinguished. The tide is turning. The win-win scenario investors have enjoyed for decades are vanishing. The Fed's mandate is no longer to reverse market downturns, but rather to create them. Its mission is far from accomplished. Markets still remain above their pre-COVID highs. Interest rates are just near neutral. Core inflation is way above target. So the rate hikes and the QT will continue. The Fed is merely taking back what is given free in the first place. We need to remember, inflation is a regressive tax, and loose monetary policy benefits the rich disproportionately. Reversing each will help bridge the wealth gap that was exacerbated by the Fed in the first place, until there is a convincing and sustained reversion in inflation, or perhaps a black swan event that is truly catastrophic far beyond the current market downturn. Assets prices are likely to continue to go down. But as always, no financial advice. I'm just here to provide my perspective. If you liked the video, then give a thumb up. And remember this, don't fight the Fed. Now that's it for today. I will see you in my next video. Bye.